Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. I've got a little bit of a shorter stream coverage going tonight. I was hoping to get some gameplay in and uploaded and kind of covered to go over some more PvP content like I did previously. But I think the video that I recorded for some reason, it got corrupted unfortunately. And that really sucks because I think that video was, it was 3 hours of content that I would have been editing and going through, kind of just covering various PvP trials and errors, specifically for a Legionnaire cleric, or I'm sorry, Legionnaire slash cleric. But anyways, with the file being corrupted, I didn't want to just leave empty-handed tonight. I just got back to my desk, and I was hoping to get some gameplay in, but it's a little late over here in my time zone, and instead of trying to play half awake and drowsy, I just got done competing in a tournament. Took my kid out for some Friday Night Magic tournament, which was amazing. So supporting our local game shop over here where I live. And now we're back at home, and I was hoping to get some Crowfall content uploaded for you guys. But we are going to get some Crowfall content uploaded. It's just not the PvP content today. But anyways, let's hop right into it. Today we're going to take a look at character customization, so the race and class design. I know they kind of mentioned this a little bit before in their massive reveal, but today I kind of want to cover their kind of more detailed article specifically pertaining to what they plan on doing with race and classes. I know I, for one, have kind of been very vocal about how excited I am about them kind of unlocking races and classes. Which I think is great. Now you don't have to be a Legionnaire, a Centaur, Legionnaire. If you want to be a healer, you can actually pick your class and then designate a race. For example, a Ganetian cleric if you want to be that, which is where I'm kind of leaning currently. So this article, I did get a chance to kind of skim through it real quick. It's kind of confirming what I kind of thought they were going to do, except the curveball is that you're selecting, and what they were talking about here is they're talking about, since their current armor system is tailored and designed to fit a race, they're kind of preserving that, right? So for example, the Legionnaire has a very specific body type. They can't just go ahead and take the armor that they created for the Legionnaire Centaurs and slap it on a knight, human knight, or a human Legionnaire, or whatever, a champion Legionnaire, or whatever other Legionnaire race they'll have. They're not going to be able to do that because the armor wasn't modeled to fit those humanoid characters. And that makes sense. So instead of kind of dumping all of, kind of throwing away all these resources, they've decided, and that's what they're saying here, is they've decided that the armors, the aesthetics, the physical appearance of your armor is going to be based on your race. So it's more like a quote-unquote cultural armor that you'll have, which, I mean, that makes sense. That's believable, right? I mean, we've seen a lot crazier shit in MMORPGs, but that seems to make sense. It's kind of a very smart move. So that way they're not losing a ton of resources. They're not, restarting, and they do get to kind of hop in and preserve, kind of salvage a lot of their pieces that they've already done so far. So moving on, outside of race, they have classes. So this is where they're talking about, the design of the weapons, and specifically the weapons, and how that kind of translates to the class, right, instead of the race. So they're talking about, once we begin to think of each class as defining the weapon style, and each race is defining their cultural identity, therefore their gear set, it all fell into place. So what that means is the class defining the weapon style. Let's talk about that phrase. So class, in this case, my example, cleric, defining the weapon style. So clerics might be, the weapons that clerics can use, they're going to have a pool of weapons clerics can use. However, weapon specialties will have different, or weapon masteries will have different stats and different skills allocated to your mastery. So you may want to master a specific weapon that suits your playstyle, right? So, that's kind of completely up to you guys. But if I'm min-maxing a healer and I want to be a traditional healer, I'm gonna choose the weapon set that best suits that playstyle. Makes sense. And it's a weapon that the clerics can use. That kind of makes sense too. Um, so it says, let's continue on. A player who wishes to play the knight class will be presented with several race options. Here's what's really interesting and kind of the curveball. You select your class first, knight, confessor, cleric, etc., etc. And then you select your race, which I think is kind of a neat way of choosing it. I think we're kind of used to selecting, let's select your race, and then let's select which classes this race has. So you kind of consider race as like the parent category, and then you consider the quote-unquote class as a subcategory of race, which is what a lot of MMOs traditionally do. This kind of flops that around, and you get to choose your class, and maybe that's just kind of arbitrary. Some of you guys probably won't care, but I think that's kind of interesting. I think that's cool because I know that I want to play a healer. Race, is race really going to matter to me outside of aesthetics? Functionality wise, I guess it depends. Is race going to have specific hitboxes? Is that going to be coming into consideration? Are races going to have, and I believe races will have specific racial passives. So for me, I think the Ganesian cleric is kind of a funny, odd-looking character. I think it's kind of cool. However, if there is a better race that suits my playstyle for cleric, I will most likely choose that. I'm more performance-driven in the character that I'm playing than I am aesthetic-driven. And some of you guys might feel differently. Some of you guys might be like, well, shit, I want to play a centaur because centaurs look cool as shit, and I want to be a cleric because centaurs are cool as shit, and centaur clerics are cooler. So I don't know, that's kind of preference, right? And having those options is fantastic. I really like that. So they went into a little bit of detail on how their class and race options are designed. They're kind of giving this specific example of the confessor, right? And so they say, okay, so you choose the class confessor, and this first example they have is the Nathari, which is your bougie humans, basically, your snobby humans. So they're talking about how they've kind of rolled the lore of the confessors to suit your aesthetic options. So you're not going to have a full like kind of scale slider like you do have in like Black Desert Online, for example, where you can just completely customize the way your character looks aesthetically, like all the facial sliders and everything. You're going to have some presets. You're going to have some finite choices for your character. I don't know. To me, that doesn't really bother me. I know to some people, like character customization, they absolutely love, and that's a huge part of it. To me, in all honesty, like I love character creators. I love customizing my character, but really what's going to set my character apart from your character is going to be my skills, my playstyle, my disciplines, and the racial passes I choose with that, and then like the class I chose, all that stuff, the gear I have, the quality of gear, things like that. Now, as far as aesthetics, I don't know how big their collection is going to be specifically, but if you have, I've played games where you've had 4, 5 hairstyles, 3, 4 different skin tones, and 3 shades of eye colors, and it doesn't sound like much, but I mean that's the reality. Not all games give you these huge array of options. And to be completely honest with you, I spent so much time customizing my ranger on Black Desert Online, and I spent 90% of the game running around looking at the back of my ranger's head. So really, like, I didn't really sit down and go up to any characters that I saw and was like, oh wow, you created a very pretty or you created a very ugly character. That didn't really bother me. That didn't really concern me while I was playing. But that's just my personal experience. So I get it. They're kind of locking some options in, and I just wanted to show you the Nathari option here. And then they go on and kind of explaining, okay, well, the Nathari, they're more human-like, so you're going to see some human features. But confessors, for example, chop off their hair as part of the lore, because that's how they kind of display their devotion to, the sun god. And so you can kind of see you're going to get some shorter hairstyles for, the female, or if they do decide to have a male. um, male class. What did I say? Male class. I meant male gender option. Um, Here you have the high elf slash sun elf, and these are more of your traditional like darker skin elves. Um, but you see that they have like a very specific skin pigment and very specific hairstyles slash hair color style and color option combinations that you can choose within the high elf variants. And then, the alternative of that is maybe instead of choosing the confessor, you want to look at the high elves, but you want to choose a frost weaver, which is, an ice based CC character. And this one is the frost weaver high elf, right? High elf frost weaver. And high elves are more bluish. They're cooler colors, so you're gonna get the cooler skin tones, the blues, the purples, maybe even some greens, some greenish blues, some teals, and you can kind of see that reflected in the hairstyles as well. So blue, teal, you really get the cyan, the light blue, the dark blue, you get the teals, purples. You can kind of see these cooler pigments. I think that's really, really cool. I really like that. I mean, very similar facial structures, but just enough to differentiate hairstyles and hair colors. I really enjoy that. So, they kind of close out the statement. This is kind of a shorter article, so I probably won't drag this video on too long. But I'll read kind of in summary what they're saying. So our goal is to offer a variety, but still maintain the character and essence of the class and its personality. A class will open up race options. The chosen race within a class will open up customization options for skin and hair that is unique to that combo. We hope that by doing this race within a different class, we'll end up looking very different, embodying both visual and statistical characteristics as to make each player feel like they've created a unique persona. Each class and race combo will unlock or allow for a variety of options that may not be available for another. Choose a class, identify with a race, customize to become a character that's unlike a race from another class, and as you play and develop your skills and choose different disciplines, you'll begin to differentiate yourself even further. So this is just what we've discussed in the past, right? Choose your race or class, choose your race, then customize your skill bar, choose your disciplines, customize your skill bar even more, and then you compound that with armor and weapon choices, and you have a truly unique character in that sense, right? Which is really, really cool. So this is a male sun elf confessor. Just an example, aka firebender, right? That's what this guy looks like straight up. He looks like a firebender. So this is, an aspect of the game I'm really excited about. I think I'm mainly excited about it to see how, a centaur cleric will play differently than a Ganesian cleric, or a, what else? A high elf or a sun elf cleric will play different than a Ganesian cleric. Mobility is different, right? Or a wood elf cleric will play differently than a Ganesian, just with the racial passives and the racial skills, things like that. I don't know. I think that's super cool. I'm excited to see this. I believe that's pretty much it for this article, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry we couldn't get any more PvP content in tonight. Hopefully tomorrow it's going to be a little bit more open for me and I'll hop in. I am going to record. I don't know if I'm going to stream tomorrow, but I will be recording PvP. I typically don't stream PvP practices just because I don't feel like streaming the communications. I really don't. It's kind of boring to sit through some of the downtime too. So what I do is I'll go ahead and do some recording of our PvP action, and then I'll go ahead and give commentary over that, just to kind of explain my actions. I'll also be able to edit, fast forward, and rewind certain things, and we can kind of dissect my actions without kind of sacrificing the content, the value that I'm bringing with that content. So I've been trying that out. This seems to be very successful. People seem to be kind of responding really, really well to that. So I really appreciate the support. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. I'm excited for race and class designs, so I hope you guys kind of share that excitement as we're kind of moving forward with Crowfall. And as these articles come out, and as I see, in downtime where maybe the server's not up or I'm not able to get a full a longer block of time for PvP, maybe I'll cover some of this content to kind of give you guys a little bit more content to discuss, right? So I believe that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate all the support as usual. If you guys have any criticisms, comments, concerns, anything like that, leave that down in the comment section below, and I'll try to get back to you guys. And otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow at my usual stream time, and that's posted in the description below as well. All right, guys, thank you very much, and we'll catch you guys later. Peace out.